Hi everyone, my name is Briana Burtt, and today I'm going to be talking about mental health influencers. Influencer marketing is something we hear about mostly in beauty, fashion, or fitness spaces, but I want to focus on how influencers are changing the conversation about mental health. This is really important because social media has such a big impact on how we view ourselves, and it can also affect how comfortable people feel talking about emotional well being. My goal today is to explain what mental health influences are, why they've become so popular, give you some examples, and also discuss both the positive and negative sides of this trend. So, what exactly are mental health influencers? These are people who use social media platforms to talk about mental health topics like anxiety, depression, self care, or mindfulness. Some of them are licensed professionals like psychologists or therapists, while others are advocates who share their personal stories to connect with audiences. The key thing that makes them influencers is that they have a following and their content resonates enough that people look to them for advice, encouragement, or education. You'll often see them on platforms like TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube because those platforms make it really easy to connect through short videos or posts. They're influencers who focus on wellness and self improvement rather than just selling products. Mental health influencers have really grown in popularity in the past few years. A lot of that is because of growing awareness about mental health overall. People, especially younger generations like Gen Z, are way more open to talking about things like anxiety and depression than older generations might have been. Another big reason is the demand for authenticity online. A lot of traditional influencers are criticized for only posting curated, picture perfect content. Mental health influencers, by contrast, are valued because they're usually more real, vulnerable, and honest. And of course, COVID 19 was a huge factor. When the world shut down, people were stressed, isolated, and dealing with uncertainty. During that time, influencers who spoke openly about mental health gained trust and support because they were addressing issues that so many people were feeling. Here are some examples of well known mental health influencers. Dr. Julie Smith is a psychologist who shares short, really easy to understand videos about how to manage stress, anxiety, or negative thoughts. Jay Shetty is another one. You might know him from his podcast On Purpose. He focuses a lot on mindfulness and purpose in life, and he often brings in inspirational guests. Tabitha Brown is more of a lifestyle influencer, but she spreads positivity and healing messages, which makes her very popular as a voice for emotional wellness. And then there's Nedra Tawwab, who is a licensed therapist and author. She focuses on helping people understand boundaries and how to set them in relationships. Each of these influencers brings something unique, but they all share the goal of mental health, a normal part of conversation. The impact of mental health influencers is really powerful. First, they help break the stigma around mental health by making these conversations more normal. When you scroll through your feed and see someone openly talk about therapy or depression, it makes it easier for you to talk about it as well. Second, they encourage people to seek help, whether that's trying self-care strategies, downloading a mental health app, or even seeing a licensed professional. Finally, they create communities online where people feel less alone. In the comment sections, you'll often see people sharing their own stories, offering support to strangers, and encouraging each other. That's one of the unique strengths of social media. It can connect people who may otherwise feel isolated. Now, even though mental health influencers have a lot of positive impacts, there are also concerns. One of the biggest issues is misinformation. Not all influencers are licensed, so sometimes they give advice that might not be accurate or safe. Another concern is the commercialization of mental health. Some brands jump on the trend to make money, but that can feel like they're turning serious issues into just another marketing opportunity. And then there's something called toxic positivity. That's when influencers push the idea that you should always be positive, even in situations where it's natural and healthy to feel sad or angry. that can be harmful because it can make people feel guilty about their emotions instead of learning to process them. Even with those concerns, brands see a lot of value in working with mental health influencers. Apps like Calm, Headspace, and BetterHelp often collaborate with them because they know people already trust these influencers. Unlike a traditional ad, when an influencer talks about a product, it feels more like a personal recommendation. That's why influencer marketing is so effective. It's based on trust and connection. These collaborations also show how mental health is becoming part of mainstream marketing in ways it wasn't before. Instead of only promoting physical products, brands are starting to promote wellness and mental health resources. Looking into the future, I think we'll see even more licensed professionals creating content. Therapists and psychologists are really realizing that social media is one of the best ways to reach younger audiences. We'll also see more nonprofits teaming up with influencers to spread awareness about mental health issues. And I think we'll probably see stricter guidelines in the future to make sure influencers are being responsible when they post about sensitive topics. Overall, I think the trend of mental health influencers is going to keep growing because the demand for authenticity and wellness isn't going away anytime soon. These are my sources, and I use APA-style formatting. They include research from Pew Research Center, Psychology Today, the BetterHelp blog, and even Jay Shetty's book. It's important to use credible sources when talking about mental health because accuracy really matters with topics like this. Thank you.